Behind closed doors, a decision was made that quietly, but decisively reshaped Prince Harry's future. After signing a custody agreement that few anticipated, Harry reportedly broke his silence, unveiling a secret claim linking Meghan Markle and Prince Andrew, an allegation that stunned royal observers across the globe. What began as whispers quickly evolved into headlines as timelines overlapped. Motives came under scrutiny, and palace insiders rushed to contain the fallout. Supporters demanded clarity, critics sensed betrayal, and the monarchy prepared for impact. The question lingered heavily in the air. What forced Harry to sign, and why disclose such an explosive claim now, knowing it could permanently fracture every relationship involved? London reeled as shocking breaking news emerged from Windsor. In early February 2026, Buckingham Palace confirmed that Archie, age 7, and Lilibet, age 5, had been formally removed from Meghan Markle's custodial influence. This was not rumor or speculation, nor the result of a sudden change in palace sentiment. The catalyst was a sealed legal brief delivered at dawn to Windsor Castle, containing information so serious it only surfaces once a situation has already reached a dangerous threshold. What unsettled palace officials most was not a public confrontation, but a silent disappearance. Days earlier, a California school administrator had raised an internal alert after noticing something deeply concerning. On January 31st, Meghan had withdrawn both children from their private Santa Barbara schools without notifying the UK liaison team, the assigned school mediator, or any welfare contact tied to the existing custody framework. The report's subject line was stark: no show, immediate concern. There was no alternative school listed, no future enrollment plan, no explanation, only silence. Inside Windsor Castle, the response was swift and uncompromising. Princess Anne, known for restraint except when duty demands action, called an unscheduled crisis meeting on February 2nd. She arrived carrying a red folder labeled Immediate Custodian Breach and placed it before King Charles without tempering her language. This was no longer about optics or wounded pride. It was about children removed from stability without explanation. The file detailed canceled pediatric appointments, directives instructing Meghan's legal team to block communication with royal education and welfare officials, and a stunning financial development. Documents showing the dissolution of a £3 million trust fund established for Archie and Lilibet's UK education. The Crown now faced a crisis unlike any it had confronted in modern times. The most alarming revelation came from a confidential intelligence memo dated January 29th. It suggested Meghan had spent months preparing a complete maternal disengagement. Not to renegotiate custody, but to sever ties altogether. A signed NDA with a Dubai-based media financier allegedly required the erasure of all prior family associations before launching a solo brand. Internal legal notes reportedly showed refusal to participate in Harry's proposed joint custody plan, while Arkwell contracts flagged instructions to remove references to the children from Spotify and Netflix marketing by mid-2026. One senior palace source described the situation as darker than conflict. Not co-parenting, not disagreement, but identity removal. That same afternoon, Prince William reportedly left an economic summit in Manchester and returned to Windsor. After reviewing the same red folder, he read the final page, looked up, and made a statement that shifted the crisis entirely. This was no longer about Meghan, he said. It was about the survival of 2 children, emotionally, legally, and historically. Within hours, Sophie, Duchess of Edinburgh, was authorized to activate emergency custodial safeguard protocols. A formal case file was opened, and for the first time in modern royal history, the Crown prepared to invoke structural guardianship over minors. Not as punishment, but to prevent royal children from being drawn into what officials feared was a vanishing act. At 10:20 a.m., Prince William entered the Royal Legal Chamber and invoked Appendix 4 of the Royal Succession Stabilization Act, a clause in use since the reign of Edward Syed. The council's vote was unanimous. With that decision, the palace drew a line Meghan's world would not be able to cross again. Quietly and methodically, the Crown moved. But what did these actions reveal about how far the monarchy would go to protect the children? And the secrets unfolding behind closed doors. The moment the children's names surfaced in the wrong kind of conversations, the palace responded with precision. Not through speeches or emotional appeals, but through protocols, paperwork, and a calculated legal silence. 3 measures were triggered almost simultaneously. First came the passport freeze. Archie and Lilibet's international travel privileges were suspended, ensuring neither child could cross UK borders without dual authorization from the Princess Royal and the Crown's Child Welfare Council. Next came the image shield, enforced under the Windsor Privacy Act of 2023, prohibiting the commercial use of the children's names and likenesses, including Sussex-related branding, for 5 years. Finally, the Royal Restoration Fund was activated, a £12 million trust established by Prince William to fund emotional recovery, private education, and reintegration support. This was not public relations. It was dynastic firewalling. The escalation did not stem from interviews or social media posts. It originated from Meghan's unexplained removal of the children from school. Within hours, the royal household's internal crisis unit treated it as a trigger event, activating a mechanism dormant since the early 1940s, the Royal Guardianship Protocol. This centuries-old safeguard allows the Crown to assert custodial oversight when royal children face threats to welfare or stability. This time, the action unfolded not at Buckingham Palace, but at Sandringham, where Princess Anne convened an emergency meeting with senior legal advisors Prince William and Lord Alistair Pembroke of the Privy Council. Their objectives were explicit: establish jurisdiction, protect the children's well-being, and prevent royal heirs from becoming commercial assets. Insider accounts allege the school withdrawal was not merely a parenting decision, but part of a broader media strategy. A docuseries pitched to a Middle Eastern production company reportedly positioned the children as narrative anchors, brand symbols, and proof of royal legacy. On January 31st, Prince William submitted a sealed dossier to the Privy Council, verified by Treasury officials. It allegedly included audits of monetization attempts involving the children, trademark filings for their names across multiple jurisdictions, and PR risk assessments tied to celebrity gifting networks. Particularly troubling were references to baby product lines framed around Princess Diana's legacy. That evening, Princess Anne issued a short final statement. With that, the Sussex saga ceased to be family drama. It became a jurisdictional conflict. By early February 2026, concern inside royal circles hardened into finality. The February 1st courtroom ruling did not weaken Meghan's position. It erased it. Insiders described the decision as historic, formally stripping her of any remaining custodial influence. Meghan was absent. Her team called it a withdrawal. Within royal circles, it was viewed as surrender. Princess Anne soon appeared at St. James's Palace, stating the Crown no longer recognized any informal maternal privileges previously extended. Her message was stark. The children's welfare would be governed by royal standards, not commercial ambition. Financial consequences followed. Accounts tied to private holding structures linked to Meghan were reportedly frozen with regulatory oversight in the UK and Canada. Sponsorships collapsed overnight. Mentions of the children vanished from digital platforms. Promotional materials were quietly edited or removed. A digital identity protection order tied to international child welfare law was reportedly activated. Prince Harry, sources claim, was blindsided. His request for temporary custody rights was denied on procedural grounds, citing travel restrictions, unresolved residency status, and income instability. It was not personal. It was process. The final directive arrived via Prince Edward. Custody, guardianship, and protection of the Windsor children would now fall solely under Crown protocol. Conditions would apply should Harry seek visitation. From there, the Crown secured the future. A widely discussed £8 million, trust not established through royal channels, was frozen and dismantled. Licensing agreements using the children's names were declared void. A sovereign guardianship directive, echoing authority last exercised during the 1936 abdication crisis, placed both children's UK passports under royal custody, barring international travel without Crown escort until age 16. At Windsor, the narrative shifted. Catherine, Princess of Wales, adjusted her schedule to support Lilibet with therapy and care. A single image. Lilibet holding Princess Charlotte's hand spoke volumes. As Edwardian protocol resurfaced, the crisis evolved into strict constitutional procedure. And when the sealed protocol was invoked, the matter ceased to be personal. It became institutional. Prince William reportedly authorized the mechanism, drafted nearly a century ago under Queen Mary. It granted temporary guardianship authority during instability. Catherine was said to assume direct oversight of Lilibet's emotional and educational welfare. Staff described a calm but controlled environment, noting the child's trust in Catherine. Meanwhile, Meghan's standing in Hollywood reportedly shifted. Netflix paused negotiations. Talent agencies distanced themselves. Spotify metadata quietly changed. Her name, insiders said, began carrying a new label, high risk. Harry, according to sources, was no longer in California. He was reportedly in Monte Carlo, separated and unraveling, pleading for a private meeting with his children. By February 3rd, 2026, Princess Anne reconvened the Child Welfare Committee. This time, the chamber was sealed. She declared the children had been placed in emotional danger through deliberate disengagement. Reports detailed Archie's growing silence and Lilibet's night terrors. The most damaging factor was the absence of response. Prince William presented a sealed affidavit from a former Sussex staffer quoting Meghan as saying, "Let the Crown raise them. I have an empire to rebuild." That statement shifted everything. When Meghan's legal team dismissed UK authority, Anne invoked a rarely used post-Brexit bilateral family protection clause. Signed by King Charles, Prince William, and Princess Anne, it transferred primary custodial guardianship to the crown. Operation Dandelion was quietly executed. While the world saw chaos, the palace moved with discipline. Windsor then delivered its message through silence and symbolism. A photograph surfaced. Prince Louis and Princess Charlotte seated calmly, captioned simply "Family Endures." Another image showed Charlotte with Princess Anne and Sophie in the royal archives. Meanwhile, Meghan's legal effort tied to Princess Diana's legacy was rejected. The ruling stated clearly that marriage did not confer ownership of royal memory. A private memorandum from Queen Elizabeth II reportedly reinforced protections against emotional leverage. Spotify withdrew proposed projects. Catherine appeared briefly at a children's charity event, placing her hand on Charlotte's shoulder. 15 seconds that felt like the future. Then came the defining moment. At a charity event, Princess Charlotte spoke clearly and deliberately, "We are not currency. We are not stories for sale." Palace aides did not intervene. It was intentional. A memorandum titled "The Safeguarding Doctrine" reportedly followed, addressing digital identity threats and modern exploitation. By sunset, the monarchy's stance was clear: responsibility, stewardship, legacy. When Meghan's Instagram post appeared, "Archie baking cookies," the palace replied with a single statement: "Empowerment is not manipulation. Protection is not obstruction. Silence is not absence." Hours later, the final bulletin arrived. Custody, image rights, and parental authority were no longer hers. So what do you believe Harry's custody agreement truly revealed about Meghan and Prince Andrew's alleged connection? And why does the palace appear to be acting now with such urgency? Share your thoughts. And don't forget to like and subscribe.